Sarah clicked. The restaurant was dead this afternoon, so with no real work to do, she leaned against the counter, phone in hand. She opened an email update from the makers of a small film. Actually, the first film that she had auditioned for when she had first moved to LA a few years ago. 42 auditions ago. Obviously, she hadn't gotten the part, but she did sign up for the filmmakers' updates. It was interesting to her to follow along with the film's progress as they had sent periodic updates on the production status. The movie had been finished a while back and had been making the rounds at the film festivals. But since none of these festivals were in LA, she hadn't yet seen the film. But with the click of this email, she had been informed that the film had made its way to Netflix. Hi, I'm Neil A. Yeager, and today I'm reading from my novel, Non-Hollywood. If I could take just a moment here and mention again one of my other novels. This is The 33rd Year. Now, there are several what I think are interesting things about this book. The first is I really tried to write it as if you were inside the main character's head. So it's written more like memories and feelings and one person working things out in his head rather than being a book like, say, Non-Hollywood, which is about people interacting. The other thing that I find interesting about The 33rd Year is what this character is trying to work out in his head. He's searching for some kind of meaning, but unlike most of us, he really commits himself to the task. So I found that interesting. And many other readers have told me that they found it interesting too. So if you would, check it out. But back to Non-Hollywood. This is chapter 53, Career Success of Others. The first person Sarah thought of upon reading this email was her middle-aged friend Larry. She glanced across the empty restaurant, then dialed his number. Unlike with her ex-boyfriend Mitchell, she was not immediately shuttled into a voicemail. Instead, Larry answered his phone. Hello? Hey, Larry, it's Sarah. Do you have Netflix? Netflix, no, sorry. You don't have Netflix? No. What? How can you not have Netflix? By not having Netflix, I guess. I have HBO. You have HBO but no Netflix. You're showing your age, Larry. I'm sorry, he replied. I didn't know that I was supposed to be concealing my age. Why exactly is Netflix important? There's something that I want you to see. Or actually, it's something that I want to see, but I need emotional support. So I want you to see it with me. Oh, okay, I see. Now, I'm off work soon, and I'll be home in a couple of hours. Can you come over tonight? Larry hesitated, then said, sure, I guess. Do you want me to invite some of the other folks from class? Maybe make it a group viewing? You've seen my apartment, Larry. It's just a studio. I don't think that I could fit a group in there. 2's about the max. But how about you come over and check out this film with me? Are you going to tell me what it is? He asked. Oh, yeah. It's a movie that I auditioned for but didn't get. It sounded good, so I want to see how it turned out. And that's why I need emotional support. If the film is good, then this might be rough. You know, the whole career success of others thing. Oh, I see. Well, that's fine then. All right, I'll see you in a couple of hours. Sounds good. Sarah hung up with Larry, then glanced back at her email. She noted something odd here. Ordinarily, an email such as this one would have sent her into a bit of a depression. Ordinarily, she would be spending time looking up the actors on the internet, where she would no doubt find that at least one of those actors has gotten more roles since then, and ordinarily, she would find herself thinking about how her career was going nowhere, while all around her, others were making a go of it. Ordinarily, she would be hearing her mother's voice in her head, urging her to come home where she belonged. Ordinarily. But she didn't feel those things. Not this time. Sarah looked at the email once more, and the rereading still had no more effect on her than if it were announcing something that she had never heard of. Curious. Here she was, hearing news of the progress of others, and she was not reacting negatively to it? What was going on? What had changed? Was she finally learning how to cope? Was it emotional growth? Was it Larry? And just as she had thought this thought, the door to the restaurant swung open, and in walked Mr. Grilled Cheese. Sarah hadn't seen him in a while. He hadn't been coming into the restaurant, and she was now embarrassed as she suddenly realized that she really hadn't missed him. Actually, she hadn't really noticed. They had gone on a few dates, during which nothing had happened, and then he had sort of drifted off. "Hi, Sarah," he said in an oddly flat tone of voice. "Hello, William. How are you?" I'm not sure how I am. Not great, I guess. But I thought I should come down here instead of leaving another message." Sarah thought for a moment. They had a few dates, and then... Oh, wait, he had left her messages, hadn't he? Now she remembered. She had just figured that she would call him back at some point, and then it had slipped her mind. How many times it had slipped her mind? How many times had he called? And come to think of it, he had been into the restaurant a few times since their last date, and he had asked when they could do it again, and she had said something non-committally vague, and then she had completely forgotten about him. Wow, that should surely serve as a sign. Mr. Grilled Cheese continued. I wanted to come by and see. Well, it seems like you're not really interested in me." "Oh, it's not that," Sarah began. But of course, it was exactly that. He was a nice enough guy, but there was just no spark. "It's not?" he asked cynically. "Well, not, you shouldn't think of it like that." He simply looked at her, puzzled. And how should he think of it? He had stated it very succinctly and exactly correctly. She had nothing against him. He seemed nice enough. He would probably make someone an excellent boyfriend. But she was not really interested in him. "Well, William," she began, trying to find the words. She was suddenly feeling quite guilty. She didn't want to hurt him, but again, he was right. So in a quiet, calm tone of voice, she said simply, "I like you. I think you're a great guy, but I don't see us as a couple." "Okay," he said without emotion. Then he turned and walked out of the restaurant. Though he regularly had been coming into this restaurant for his grilled cheese for as long as Sarah had worked here, she had the feeling that this would be the last she saw of Mr. Grilled Cheese. Later, in her apartment, Sarah answered her door to see Larry standing on her steps with a pizza box in one hand and a large bottle of soda in the other. He said in a chipper tone, "Movie nights require pizza. I'm pretty sure that's in the Constitution somewhere." Sarah took a deep, satisfying whiff of the pizza, but then mock scowled. "Really? You're doing this to an actress?" "Doing what?" "Are you trying to make me fat? Don't you know that most actors can't eat like this?" "Oh," he said, reddening. "I forgot about that. I am sorry. I just thought..." "Just giving you a hard time," she said with a smile. "Now, I can't make a habit of picking out on pizza, but a slice or two here and there isn't going to kill my spectacular career." "But still, I feel bad," said Larry. I forget about these things. I'm lucky enough that a few pounds don't mean anything to my career." Sarah laughed. "Might even help your career if I understand your agent correctly. Get your picture in more tractor ads." "Actually, when I'm heavier, I tend to book more ads for tools." "Not sure why." "Good for you. Then you can eat most of this pizza and still keep your modeling career. Meanwhile, I will have exactly 1.5 slices." "Living on the edge there, Sarah." "That's me. Risk taker." As she led him into the apartment, she continued, I will skip the soda, though. I've got some diet in here." Larry said, I would have brought some wine, but what?" Well, to be honest, I'm still not sure how old you are. That one gave Sarah a really good laugh. Seriously, Larry? She said, do I look not old enough to drink? Sarah, I'm pushing 50. Anyone under 30 looks like a high school kid to me. Well, okay. Thanks for the pizza at least. Wine next time, she said. As he set the pizza on the table, he kind of scooted her phone out of the way. The sight of the phone reminded her of something. Oh, hey, she said. You know Jeremy from class, right? Yes, the creepy guy. Yeah, that's him. Talks funny too. Again, that's him. He left me a message today. Have a listen. She put the phone on speaker and played the message from Jeremy. In that strange clipped accent of his, Sarah, this is Jeremy from Coach Bobby's class. I am terribly excited. Terribly. I have not slept in 3 days. In short, I have pushed through and finished my script, and you have been my muse. I tried very hard to divorce myself from this notion of you in the part, but I could not. Envisioning you in this role has allowed me to finish this project, so I must have you. Must have you in this film. I concede to your terms, although I still believe that an actor should not be afraid of nudity. But as I say, I accept your terms. You have been my muse, now be my star. Please, please, you must say yes. When the message ended, Sarah asked Larry, well, what do you think? Well, aside from the fact that I still think that Jeremy is really, really weird, I think that what he's offering is certainly flattering. Still kind of creepy, but yes, you should be flattered. Hey, he's going to let me keep my clothes on. That is a plus. Sarah thought for a moment, then continued, the scenes that he's done in class are actually pretty good. Well, what I should say is that the scenes are well written. His performances are terrible. But remember, he's not an actor. No, he certainly isn't. So, do you think I should do it? Larry didn't miss a beat. Yes, I do. Like you said, he seems to be a good writer. And what is it that Coach Bobby always says? Never say no to anything except porn, she finished for him. Yeah, I think so too. I haven't read it yet, obviously, but I'd be willing to risk it, as long as I can keep my clothes on. I agree. So, shall we watch this movie then? We shall. Then the two of them settled back on her futon, which was folded into couch mode, and started the film. They ate the pizza as they watched the movie. The pizza was good, and the movie was decent. The drama of it played well, and both Sarah and Larry had found that it held their interest. Sarah did notice that during the sex scene, Larry had seemed noticeably uncomfortable. She thought that was cute. As the closing credits rolled, Larry said, well, that was pretty good. Yeah, too bad you didn't land that one. The role that you were up for was probably the best in the film. Would have been a nice addition to your reel. And, she replied, they did the love scene without showing anything. So I could have told Jeremy that it is possible. Larry simply laughed and looked at the floor. Was he blushing? She thought that maybe he was. Well, she said, should we find something else to watch? As she leaned forward to pick the remote from the coffee table, Sarah placed her hand on Larry's knee to stabilize herself. But after she had the remote and had leaned back on the futon, she left her hand right where it was. Larry glanced down at the hand on his knee. Actually, he said, I kind of need to go. He stood up abruptly and walked to grab his jacket, which had been slung over the arm of her only chair. You sure you don't want to stick around? There are about 1 million movies we could watch. I'm sure we could find one of those old Hollywood movies that you like. Larry cleared his throat and said, I appreciate it, but I've got an appointment in the morning, so I should be taking off. You know, we old people need to get our sleep. Okay, but maybe we can do it some other time then. Maybe after next class. Sure, yeah, that would be fine. It's a date then. Larry nodded non-committally and headed for the door.